Hi everyone, I am Marissa Russo and I am author of When the Fairy Tale Ends. I wrote this book to bring awareness to a form of abuse that we really don't speak about, or one that I never really heard about because the only form of abuse that I knew was physical abuse. I didn't know about emotional, verbal, and mental abuse, financial abuse. I had no idea. Um, I was married to a man who would call me names every single day. I was worthless. I was incompetent. I was stupid. I didn't have common sense. I wasn't pretty enough. I wasn't a good wife. And about a year into the marriage, he said he never loved me. That he thought he married me because I had a good heart and that I was going to change and I was going to be a really good wife to him. But I failed. I was a monster, he said, which I didn't think I was because I really loved him and I thought my love was going to change him. Unfortunately, that's not the case. You can't change anybody unless they want to be changed. But I didn't know that back then. It took me a lot of heartbreaks to realize that. I was subjected to so much verbal abuse and emotional and mental. To this day, I have PTSD. I have triggers, unfortunately. I was put on disability one time and he told me I was not going to be able to rest. I had to go do chores. And this is something that he made me write in every single day. And it was something that I hope no one has to experience. And I'm going to give you some examples because hopefully this will help somebody. So I'm going to change his name, of course. This was October 17th, 2006. How can I improve things and how will it impact Brian? Okay, impact on Brian. It might affect Brian's credit. 99% sure it won't, but there's a possibility. Okay, this is great stuff. Here are some more. These are the consequences. If I don't wash off the dog's paws, Brian will get rid of one dog a day and I will never see them again. If I call Brian at work, he will go to an attorney. If I don't write in this book every day, Brian will go to an attorney. Ways to fix things. Stop overreacting, calm down, look for answers to problems. This is great stuff. More consequences. There's so much in here that I could read you. It's not worth it because basically I had to rate myself too. I will tell you that, where I would sit with him at the end of the day and I would say, how I think I acted. And I would, of course, try to give myself a gold star. But to him, it would be my head was up my, you know what. But that was then. Okay, so this was then. I took that pain and I took my experience and I decided to put it somewhere else. In 2011, I started a summary of abuse because I was getting no help. I called attorneys after attorneys and I couldn't get anyone to listen to me. I had a pro bono attorney who was doing nothing for me. I had nothing left. The man went through every dime I had. I had filed bankruptcy. My house was in foreclosure. I was going to food pantries before I moved back in with my family. I had nothing. And nobody was listening to me. I needed help. Yet all these lawyers wanted retainers. And I understand that's the business. But I kept crying out to them saying, please, I don't have it. I need your help to get it because I am dying over here. I am drowning. I can't live like this anymore. And this is when I was living in New York. And I was by myself at this time. I was living in that house for about a year before I moved back with my family. And it was very scary because every day when I came home from work, I was scared that I was going to find padlocks on the door and that my animals, they were going to take my animals and I was never going to see them again. I just didn't know how I was going to live. Well, I took the summary of abuse and I started incorporating it into a book because I always wanted to write a book. And It took me about, let's see, 2011 and 2019, I submitted it to Christian Faith Publishing. And 4 days later, I got a call that it was approved for publication. So it was a big step for me because I went from writing in those journals to publishing this book, a book I always wanted to write. What was meant to destroy me, really, it didn't destroy me. It actually elevated me because now I wrote a book and I want to write another book one day. But it helped me a lot too, because there are people that come up to me and tell me that I'm an inspiration. They look at me and they say, if I can do it, they can do it. Well, the thing is, I'm not perfect. I still struggle all the time. I don't always put it on Facebook. I don't put it out all over the world, but I have PTSD, and I have days when I can be very down. I have moments, I have seasons when I just feel great sadness come over me, and it's not because I miss him or love him, not at all. It's because sometimes I think about my 30s, that life moved on, everybody moved on, and when I came out of this situation, people were married, people had kids. I never had that experience. I never got to know what a real proposal was. I never got to know that. I never knew what it was like to marry somebody that really loved you, or to, have children, have a family. When I met my ex-husband, there were so many red flags. Looking back in hindsight now, there were 3 times that I did, walk away from him and tell him it was over. And this is before we got engaged. And he kept coming back saying, I'm sorry, it'll never happen again. And by the way, that is not really a sorry. Don't ever think they're going to change or they mean it. They don't mean it. It's not true. Sincere apologies don't continue all the time. So when about a year after we were together, he found out I was coming into a settlement, and he said we should get married. And I was so excited because I always pictured like the fairy tale wedding, and I always dreamed of getting married at the Pleasantdale Chateau. And I'm like, great, now I'm going to get married there. And the dress and the tiara and just the whole thing, the whole fairy tale. And I went with it. And probably about 5 months after that, he had my grandmother's diamond. He took that and he had it put in a setting, and he got on his knees and asked me to marry him. But it wasn't a real proposal, and it was actually a couple of weeks before we moved into the house that I purchased. It was really my house, and it was just, I didn't feel that joy though. Looking back in hindsight now, and I can admit this, I did not feel that joy. And when we moved in that house together, there was so much that happened, and I still went with it because I was embarrassed. I didn't want to admit to people that I made a mistake, and I didn't want to have to cancel off the wedding, and I didn't want to be a failure. I said I can do this and I can change him, and that didn't happen. When I was in high school, I was bullied, and I remember I never felt like I was good enough. I always felt like I was different. So when I graduated high school, I still felt that way. There were 2 guys that I had dated after after high school. Actually, one before I graduated, one I met after high school, and they were probably the 2 best guys I ever knew in my life, because they were good guys. And then after that, I started going around with bad boys, because I started to go down in my feelings about myself, and I felt like I wasn't good enough. And the names that were spoken over to me when I was younger, when I was in high school, they were coming back to me, and I met guys that I was constantly trying to fix. That was all I was used to be honest. And my ex-husband was one of them. And I kept thinking about, how did I date these two amazing guys when I was younger? And how did I get myself into the situation where I'm dating now this guy who is this other guy before my ex-husband one time? He's on drugs. And I thought I could help him get off drugs. And I was paying for things for him. And I was traveling to Georgia where he lived constantly. And I was giving him money and everything. Well, I'm not going to do that anymore with anyone. I learned my lesson big time, because I can't change anyone. I wish I could, but I can't. I was in my early 30s when I found myself penniless, almost homeless. I was lost. July 3rd, 2008 was the night of when it all started. We had a fight. A lot of it is a blur to me now, but I just remember him breaking glass, throwing a remote control at me, which ended up in the wall. And he said he was going to leave me. And I was begging him not to go. And I kept saying, please, please don't go. Please, I need you. And I was holding on to him. And when he was outside, he was getting into his truck. I remember saying, I need you. You can't leave me. Please, I can't live without you. And he tossed me. And there was a piece of wood that had nails that were sticking up. And I fell on it and it went through my knee. Those nails. And then the rest of it, it's a blur. I do remember being taken to the hospital. And while I was there, somehow or another, they thought I was suicidal. I wasn't. They kept me in a room, and the next day they transported me to the Bon Secours mental health facility, and I was crying. I said, please get me out of here. I'm not suicidal. And they didn't listen to me, and I knew he was moving out. I had a feeling, because he said he was going to leave me, and this was it. And my animals were home. I'm stuck here. It's July 4th, fireworks. There's bars on the windows. I don't belong here, I thought. But I did my best to seem like I was happy and upbeat. And then on July 7th, I met with a doctor, and I said, yes, I'm fine. No, don't worry. I'm okay. I played the part that I was so happy, and they released me. And when I went home, I walked into a house. He had moved out. He took everything. And I was scared. I didn't know how I was going to live. I really didn't know how I was going to go on. My whole life, collapsed in front of me. And I had no money. I lost my husband. I just didn't know how I was going to go on. I honestly asked God several times to take me, to please take me. I couldn't live through this anymore. And about a week after that, I met my good friend, who's my friend to this day, and she helped me. And, my life began then. I didn't see it. It was a blessing in disguise that he left me. But July 3rd, 2008 was actually the start of my freedom. So I'm here, and I was here to write about it, and I'm here to help others. Hopefully there's somebody out there who will read this book, and they will realize it's not them that's crazy. They will realize it's not them. They're not worthless. You're not worthless. It's not you. It's them. My ex-husband was a monster. He was a monster. And looking back in hindsight, I noticed this behavior in his mother. His mother would call the father names. After he left me, and it was just a horrible experience. He married somebody else, which they're divorced now. I had such anger. I had such hurt. And while I forgave her, and I do forgive her to this day, she didn't know. He told her I was a bad person. So she was younger too, and she thought, I'm going to listen to him. So she also, harassed me. And I was so scared. I couldn't fight. I had 2-on-1. And who's going to stand behind me? I didn't have the friends I have now. I came back here. I had to rebuild my life. So but I did it. I'm here, and I am pouring my heart out to this video because I just want somebody to hear me, to hear my story, and to help them, and to know that along the way, the journey was long. I can't tell you one thing that when the moment was that I was healed, because I'm not healed. I'm a work in progress. We all are. Or I can't tell you the moment that I started to heal. I just rebuilt my life. I just went on. I went to work every day, cried, screamed, yelled, and here I am. I'm here. I was a shell of myself. I was 80 pounds overweight. That was never me. I was lost. So anyway, I hope this video will help somebody out someday, and I hope this book will help you out too, because you can go from writing in journals to writing in this. So I will have another video another day, but this one I said, listen, there is no script. This is going to be raw. I'm not rehearsing because I am just being me. I am just speaking, and I'm speaking from the heart. I know that I do believe in love again, and I do know that I will be happy one day. I will find love. I'm only 46. I'm not dead. I do look at other people though, and there are sometimes I wonder, why couldn't I have that? Why couldn't I have married the right one? Why couldn't I have waited? There's a part of me that is very sad, because I always wanted to have children. That's not going to happen now, but it's okay. Probably better off. I want to get my house one day. I still live with my parents, but I'm looking to move by fall or the end of the year. It's been a struggle financially for me. I've had to rebuild everything up. I had to build my credit up. And I still struggle. I have a great job. I love my job. But I still struggle. Because at one point in my life, I had a lot and I lost it. So material things mean nothing. I'm scared. I really am, because I'm also scared that when I do get a house, I'm scared that I'm going to lose another house. Even though I know that was not by my doing. I'm scared because this is the first time I'm an author. I'm now an author. I mean, I wrote a book. I don't know how to market. So many things to get done. And at the same time, I'm so happy about my book. I'm so excited about it, but there is a part of me that there's something that's missing in my life, and I don't know what that is just now. But I've been having some bad days lately. I'll admit it. I'm not perfect. But I keep on going, and I don't give up. I'll never give up. I'll never give up. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I'll do another video another time. All right, everyone. Enjoy. Bye-bye.